directly to interpretation slides, or do we want to start where we were going to start before?
I mean, the interpretation slides are at the beginning of the slides, so I can just start sharing my screen while I'm doing all of this.
Thank you.
That's all.
Okay. So I'm gonna just wait for Sarah to pull the slide up. In the meantime, greetings and welcome to everyone. My name is Sarah Mersha. I'm with Grassroots International, which is a proud member of the U.S. Food Sovereignty Alliance. Before the official program begins, we want to make sure everyone's able to access the various language options available. So people will be presenting in English, but because of language justice, which is an important value, we'll have interpretation into Somali, Nepali, and Spanish, as well as closed captioning. So we want to big shout out to all the interpreters for making this possible. I'm going to explain one language at a time how to access the interpretation channel for your language.
دي أخت صومالية أنا قد كان كوجد في معناها فرنش أي فقرة هي عادي سا مش معناها أيام ما ترجمنا صومالي ما تكون ترجمنا هنا.
Un dibujo de cómo conectar con interpretación, pero sí, vas a ver al bajo de su screen, lo siento, no tengo todas las palabras, aquí. Si estás en una computadora, en los controles de la reunión de Zoom, puedes ver un globo, que eso es el globo, y eso significa interpretación. Y haga clic en la idioma que desea escuchar. Y la recomendación es para escuchar solo el idioma interpretado, puedes hacer clic en silenciar audio original. Y si estás en un teléfono móvil, puedes tocar el símbolo de 3 puntos, toque interpretación de idiomas y toque el idioma español. Y toque botón de alternancia silenciar audio original y haga clic finalizado. Entonces, eso está en español. Si alguien está escuchando que quieres escucharlo en español, por favor, entra a la sala de español ahora. Okay, now we're going to move to Nepali. So I'm going to ask Pramesh to unmute yourself and explain the instructions in Nepali.
Thank you, Sarah. Namaste सबैजनालाई. मलाई लाग्छ हामी सबैजना जुम प्रयोग गर्न अभ्यस्त भइसकेका छौं. त्यही पनि म एकपटक सरसर्ती हाम्रो नेपालीको पनि अनुवाद छ भनेर यहाँहरुलाई भन्न चाहन्छु. नेपाली भाषा सुन्नको लागि त्यहाँ जुन विश्वको चित्र छ त्यसमा इन्टरप्रिटेसन लेखेको छ. त्यसमा क्लिक गर्नु होला. त्यो क्लिक गर्दा त्यहाँ विभिन्न भाषाहरुको छनौट छ. त्यसमा अंग्रेजी, जर्मन, फ्रेन्च र स्पेनिश लेखेको छ. त्यसमध्ये नेपाली चाहिँ जर्मन भाषामा यो जुमको हैन प्राविधिक कारणले गर्दा नेपाली हामी जर्मन भाषालाई क्लिक गरेपछि सुन्न सक्छौं. त्यो जर्मन क्लिक गरेर हामी नेपालीमा सुन्न सक्छौं. धन्यवाद. Thank you.
Thank you, Pramesh. How do you say thank you in Nepali?
धन्यवाद.
Anivat?
धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद.
Dhanyavad. Okay, I better work on that. So yes, and for those who didn't hear, the categorization for Nepali here is German. So that is not our intention, but that is a problem with Zoom. And now I'd like to ask our interpreter for Somali. I think Muhyiddin actually is going to explain how to do this in Somali.
Yes, I'm going to do that. marka ugu horeyso markaad soo gashay Zoom-ka waxaa la rabaa inaad xakamayso macnaha fasiraada af Soomaaliga ku baxaya. marka hore macnaha waa af Ingiriis waaye laakiin waxaa taabanaysaa calaamadda oo macnaha adduunka sawirka adduunka ah markaa taabato wuxuu ku tusinayaa lista oo English Chinese French Germany marka af Soomaali ma ku jiro af Soomaali booskiisa waxa waaye French aa taabanay French haddii taabato af Soomaali ku soo baxaya marka af Soomaaliga saa u taabato French aad taabato af Soomaali ku hadlaya because macnaha zoomka kuma jiro af Soomaali iyo af Nepali ma ku jiro Nepali waa Germany Frenchna waa af Soomaali markii luqadda aad taabato marka wixii qofkii Ingiriis ku hadlaya af Soomaali kugu turjumaya marka saas waay markaas kadib waxaa ku furmaya luqadii af Soomaaliga turjumaad marka turjubaan ayaa ku jira turjubaankaas wuxuu ku soo xiriirin doonaa wixii la sheegayo dhan simultaneous oo macnaha ayadoo hadalku u socdo hor kaga sii turjubaanaya af Soomaaliga kugu turjumaya laakiin waxaa ka horeysa in adi luqadda Faransiga aad taabato haddii wax kale aad taabato luqad kale ku soo baxaysa marka saas way marka soo gasho saas samee insha Allah good
Okay, thank you, Mohideen. And same question to you. How do you say thank you in Somali?
mahad sanid
Mahad Sanit.
yes
Okay, Mahad Sanit. So, and then last, I want to just describe for English speakers. So if we have a slide in English, same process. So if you're on a computer, in the bottom of the controls, you'll see the globe icon. Click on that. That's for interpretation. Click the language you want to hear if you want to hear in English. And then if you want to hear only in English, click mute original audio. And then if you're on a phone, then on the meeting controls, tap the three dots. And then tap language interpretation, and there you can select English. You can mute original audio and then click done. So I hope that everyone has been able to go into a language room. It is important that everybody select a language so that you'll make sure to be able to hear and understand what everybody is saying. So if you're having any problems with that, any technical support, I would ask you to chat Sarah Lavenhar from Community Alliance for Global Justice, in that you can get in touch with her in the chat if you're having any problems connecting to a room. And I want to note that we are recording this event in all 4 languages, and we're also live streaming on Facebook. So we hope that you'll all share this video with all your loved ones and communities after this event. So now let's all take a deep breath, feeling a lot of gratitude for everyone who's here. Thank you to everyone who has been introducing themselves in the chat. And we're now going to officially open our ceremony, our Food Sovereignty Prize ceremony, with a Mystica that Stephen Bartlett from Sustainable Agriculture of Louisville and the U.S. Food Sovereignty Alliance will be leading. For those who aren't familiar with the Mystica, it's a ritual that a lot of social movements use around the world as a way to arrive together, really, in a space to feel grounded and connected to one another and to Mother Earth. So, Stephen, passing it on to you. And if you are not talking, you can perhaps.
We gather today for this celebration in the midst of a planetary pandemic, threatening death, especially to our beloved elders, and threatened sickness, especially to those who work with others, especially those in the most difficult, laborious jobs. We recognize the dire economic circumstances that force food workers into high-risk workplaces and the lack of support and health care
Hello.
for the most marginalized
Sir, सुनिए.
and impoverished workers and their families, especially immigrants and those in redline communities of color. Today, we celebrate the vital work performed by these people, despite the risks, who are feeding us all in the midst of social distancing and mask wearing and isolation, and for many, loneliness. Essential workers who are risking COVID-19 to feed humanity include farm workers, family farmers, direct marketers, meat packers, grocery store workers, food transportation workers, food delivery workers, cooks and restaurant workers, family cooks and food buyers.
Hello, नमस्ते. नेपाली कमरेडहरुले सुनिराख्नु भएको छ?
Food processors, seed savers and vendors, food pantry, food distributors, rural nurses, doctors,
अहिले
and
मिस्टिका
janitors.
भइरहेको छ.
We demand COVID
मिस्टिकाको
protection
बारेमा
and living
बताइराख्नु
wages
भएको छ. नेपाली कमरेडहरुले
for these
सुन्नु भएको छ
people.
नेपालीमा?
सुनिएछ माधव.
Sorry,
honor-
Stephen. Just 1 minute. I think
ल, ल.
if people can put themselves on mute or enter a language room so that we don't hear background talking, that would be helpful.
We honor and celebrate those who have died at the hands of racist police and National Guard forces here in Louisville, Kentucky, USA, such as Breonna Taylor, and for those such as George Floyd and the hundreds of others across the US and the world who have died due to white supremacy and institutionalized racism. We demand justice for them and their families and their
उहाँले त्यहाँ
communities.
देखाइरहेको मिस्टिका रिचुअलको बारेमा भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ. अमेरिकाको त्यहाँको सेताहरूको डोमिनेसन र वर्किङ क्लास
and find hope in the growing interracial social movements emerging across our country and our world to transform our corrupted and complicit institutions. Mother Earth feeds us abundantly, and we honor her and follow her ways by being generous and open-handed with our seeds, our sweat, and our tears.
उहाँले स्क्रिनमा देखाएको मिस्टिकाको बारेमा पढ्नुभयो. जस्तो
Thank you so much, Stephen, for grounding us. That energy is very special. I
धेरै
want
धेरै
to check
धन्यवाद
in.
मिस्टिकाको लागि.
I think we need to just resolve a little bit of interpretation. Sorry, is it Pranesh who's doing the Nepali interpreting?
It's Madhav Panta. I think
Madhav.
he's in the floor here. So we have to keep him in the Nepali booth, German booth.
Is there someone that could help Madhav get into the German booth? And then maybe we can just do a test to make sure everybody can hear that okay.
Madhab should get prompted to join. And if not, then perhaps just go to language interpretation and select German, and it may take you there.
Madhab,
Okay.
are you here? Okay, good. Yes,
Yes,
I hear
yes,
you.
I'm hearing.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, but I think we are listening Nepali in the English channel in the floor.
होइन अहिले परमेश सर अहिले ठिक भयो कि हेर्नु त
Okay.
म अहिले जर्मनमा क्लिक गरेको छु कि अहिले अरूले सुनिरहेछ कि छैन
So I just want to check in with you, Madhab. Do you need help to get into the German channel?
सुनिरहेछ
Yes, it's fine now.
नेपालीहरूले मात्रै सुन्नु पर्यो कि मैले बोलेको अरूले सुन्नु भएन
I still hear you in the English channel. So I wonder, is that something that someone on our tech team can help figure out? Thank you everyone for your patience.
I can try removing and re-adding and see if that actually brings up a prompt.
Okay.
So one moment.
Thank you, everyone. It's important for us to take time to get this right. So thank you for your patience.
Okay, I've just re-added German, so Madhab should have a prompt to join that interpretation booth for Nepali. There we go. That looks like, yes, I think we're good to go now.
Yeah, let's test it. So first, Madhab, can you speak in Nepali and can others who are listening in Nepali give a thumbs up if you can hear him?
कमरेडहरु अहिले राम्रो सुनियो
Yeah, Andrew's testing that out. Okay.
नेपाली कमरेडहरुले सुन्नु भएको छ
Let's just test all of the languages while we're here. So could our Somali interpreter, could you test and see if everybody is able to hear?
may maqlaysaan dadka Soomaalida may maqlaysaan
And Spanish.
Español. Este es el canal del español. Sí, se le oye. ¿En inglés también? A ver. So this is on the English channel, testing the English channel.
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay, sorry, I should have done that before the Mystica. My apologies, but thank you, everyone. Okay, so with the energy that Stephen brought to us, that's very powerful, remembering really the reasons that we're all here and the people who are behind the struggle for food sovereignty. On behalf of the whole U.S. Food Sovereignty Alliance, and a special shout out to the team that's been working hard to pull this together, welcome to the 2020 Food Sovereignty Prize ceremony. The U.S. Food Sovereignty Alliance was founded a decade ago to strengthen and unify struggles for food sovereignty across the United States in articulation with the broader global movement for food sovereignty, that really being a key point that we're part of the world. The Alliance works both through regional organizing and national level collectives to advance awareness and action toward food sovereignty. And we're honored to be the main sponsor of the Food Sovereignty Prize. The Food Sovereignty Prize itself was born in 2009 when a national gathering of food movement activists was taking place in Des Moines, Iowa. Shout out if you've been to Des Moines or if you live there. At the same time that the World Food Prize ceremony was also taking place. And the main problem, as many of you know, is that with the World Food Prize is that it promotes the myth that hunger is due to a lack of production, when we know that in fact it's due to a lack of justice. And I would add far too often promotes corporate agribusiness over the real small scale agriculture from the ground up. For many decades, there has been more than enough food in the world for everyone to be well fed. But we have a food system that places profits over people, that exploits and impoverishes producers and workers across the food chain, that fuels climate change, and that fosters inequalities based on race, class, gender, caste, and other social divisions. The narrative that we can produce our way out of hunger is dangerous because it obscures these realities to the benefit of those who profit from them. We're seeing this all the more today in the midst of COVID and rising rates of hunger as global powers scramble to reinforce the existing system. Food sovereignty, on the other hand, advances an entirely different system, one in which food is a basic human right, where food producers and food chain workers are valued, where the rights of Mother Earth are respected and upheld, and where people are empowered to shape their own food policies and food systems. This is what the Food Sovereignty Prize champions by recognizing collective efforts to transform the food system from movements from the ground up. Today, we're here to celebrate the inspiring efforts of two incredible groups that are part of building these movements, the Somali Bantu Community Association and the All Nepal Peasants Federation. Before we introduce them, we have the huge pleasure of hearing from a past recipient of the Food Sovereignty Prize, whose efforts today could not be more important in the face of the COVID pandemic. Edgar Franks was the civic engagement coordinator at Community to Community Development. Shout out to Community to Community, we love you. When they were awarded the Food Sovereignty Prize in 2014. They're based in Bellingham, Washington. Edgar helped support the formation of Familias Unidas por la Justicia, the first indigenous-led farm worker union in the US, located in Bellingham, Washington. Since 2019, he's acted as the political director of Familias Unidas. So I want to give a warm welcome, big virtual hugs to Edgar.
Hello, thank you for that nice introduction, and it's good to see everyone. I haven't seen people in a while. Hope everyone's safe, and congratulations to the winners of this year's Food Sovereignty Prize. In I believe it was 2014 when C2C Community Development won the prize along with the Palestinian agricultural workers, which was a huge honor for us. I think at that time we were in the midst of a huge boycott against one of the world's biggest berry corporations, which was Driscoll's. Receiving the Food Sovereignty Prize at that time, I think, was really important because of all the history and what it
A
symbolizes.
causa de toda la historia, el simbolismo, a las personas de base, los pobres, los inmigrantes, los trabajadores agrícolas, se enfrentaban con una corporación multinacional. Fue un honor recibir ese premio. Nos dio un apoyo espiritual, emocional, muy importante. Nos reforzó en esa época. En la época faltaba recursos y dinero. Solo teníamos la voluntad de ganar. Tarde lo que tarde. Y ese premio de la soberanía alimentaria, Rosalinda fue a Des Moines para recibir el premio. Fue con Patricio, un líder.
Was around 20 years old. And for him, for the first time to leave this community and go and join a world community, an international community, and be in solidarity, really inspired him and inspired his family to keep fighting and being in solidarity with everyone. After that Food Sovereignty Prize, I think a lot of things started to change. A lot of people started hearing the call for the boycott, not only here in the US, but around the world, which is needed to take on global companies. We need a global movement and global solidarity. And with that support, eventually after 3.5 years of fighting and boycotting and picket lines and what have you. We were able to win recognition for a farm worker union here in Washington State, and it was the first farm worker union that had been formed in the United States in over 30 years. So we considered it a big win, not only for farm workers, but for the food sovereignty movement in general. In 2019, I transitioned out of community to community and now become the political director for the Independent Union of Familias Unidas. And we bring a lot of those lessons of the food sovereignty movement for our union to become more than just a union that bargains for collective bargaining agreements. We're really interested and are striving for systemic change, and take on these multinational corporations, whether it be here in Washington State or anywhere around the world, and be in solidarity with all the peasants and the workers that are also fighting to defend their lands and their waters. So, the Food Sovereignty Prize and the community that helps organize and mobilize, we're really thankful that we were brought into that space, and we want to contribute even more than we can here, because we're forever grateful for the big recognition that we got at that time. And we want to still be working and organizing alongside with our comrades in the food sovereignty movement. The fight's not over. We're still here organizing in Yakima, Washington, and Eastern Washington. It's the agricultural hub of their state, and we're taking on a big corporation here called Allen Brothers, where a new union has formed of apple processing workers, and they formed their own independent union. And right now they're in the fight for their lives as they are organizing to vote in their union. The company is doing everything to bust them, but the workers are strong and resilient. And within a couple of weeks, we'll know the results of that vote. And today there's a huge action in Yakima. And if people can send good vibes and good wishes and good intentions to the workers in Yakima, it'd be much appreciated. Their union is Trabajadores Unidos por la Justicia, Workers United for Justice. And if we get a union in Yakima, we could definitely move the workers and food sovereignty movement forward here in Washington State and across the nation. So thank you all very much, and congratulations to this year's winners.
Thank you so much, Edgar. Yeah, it's just so clear, like the commitment that you and other workers involved with Familias Unidas y Trabajadores Unidas, we draw a lot of hope and inspiration from that. So it's now my pleasure to invite Ian McSweeney, who's the Executive Director of Agrarian Trust, to introduce this year's Domestic Food Sovereignty Prize recipient.
So thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today in this present reality we face. It's wonderful to connect in this virtual way, and to all be here for such worthy and important work. So yeah, I have the deep honor to introduce the domestic winner of the Food Sovereignty Prize, the Somali Bantu Community Association, and the work they've really done through Liberation Farm. And I feel honored to be developing relationship. I feel honored to play a small role in the work they're doing to bring about land security, that in running Agrarian Trust and in leading the Agrarian Commons model, our work is to focus structures to bring about land ownership and land tenure that's equitable and driven by justice for the earth and for humans. And so through that work, We are and have been collaborating with the Somali Bantu Community Association. We collaborated to bring about the Little Jubba Agrarian Commons in Maine. And really, I think back to just over a year ago, last October, we were part of hosting Northeast Regional Gathering of the U.S. Food Sovereignty Alliance. And after a day of gathering and building relationship, I walked to dinner with Mohideen and discussed their land reality and the land insecurity they faced and the need for a well and the inability to get water on site because of the lack of land security of where they were. And you know, recognize that was in a context of Mohideen, your work for generations that you hold for your community of finding and creating home, of building building health and resilience in a community, Lewiston, Maine, that deeply needs new life, new health, and people to carry forward into next generations. And the fact that Somali Bantu Community Association has for over a decade built community programs, serve the community that they're part of, built a farm program to bring about food security, has grown. Number of farmers served from a little over 20 to now over 200 farm families involved. It speaks volumes to the work. And the reality that context is all placed within a lack of justice of any type, a lack of land security, lack of resources, lack of value and recognition for all you're doing, is, you know, a testament to the persistence and the work ethic and the value and the real importance of the work we're here to do to bring about land security, land tenure, food sovereignty. So, you know, grateful to introduce you, Mohideen, grateful to be in collaboration with you, and grateful to manifest these land transitions to reform how we connect with and how we hold relationship with each other and land. So thank you. Congratulations, Somali Bantu Community Association. Congratulations, Mohideen, for holding for yourself and for the whole community the work you do and the wonderful wonderful achievement of creating home in Wales, Maine that is now possible. So thank you all.
Thanks, Ian. And I believe there might be a short video that we wanted to share.
We'll do that during his talk. Yeah.
Perfect. Right, Mohideen.
Thank you, Ian. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Steve. I would like to, on behalf of Somali Bantu Community Association in Lewiston, Maine, it is my absolute honor and gratitude to receive the award for the community of Somali Bantu in Lewiston, Maine. This work has been tremendously hard, and we have been through a lot. We did not have any resources to run a program. I wasn't trained as a nonprofit worker. It was just came through a necessity. People needed services, programs, and different kinds of things. And I just stepped in. I didn't have resources. I didn't have money. I did not know how to raise funds. I had a heart, a big heart, and I tried to drop everything else that I had just to help my community. So this wasn't possible without all my friends, all my co-workers, including Jim Hanna, who was the person who helped us find a piece of land, Ashley Belko, who was the person who welcomed us into a piece of land in North Yarmouth. Christina Kalalo is our first marketing person who came into the organization and started organizing our programs and our work. For the first time, she was the person who was saying, oh, this is too big, Muhyiddin, we can't lift this. She was the person who made our reality to be a true dreams. We also would like to thank Hassan, who was one of our first people who we started working together as a volunteers. Now he's a paid employee, part-time paid employee. I would also like to thank Lana, who just came 2019, also Kat and everybody. So after giving thank you to my co-workers, I would also like to shout out to my board of directors who was listening to me. Sometimes I bring up ideas that they think it's not possible, but they will just agree after a long talk and a long discussion. They will just say, okay, push this, let's see where you go. You end up going. So we started a farming program in 2014 in North Yarmouth. We started with 20 farmers, and at the time it was, I think, in May of 2014. So the season was just beginning. We did not have tools. We do not have seedlings. And here we get a piece of land that is ready to be planted. So we scrambled and we started talking to greenhouses around. And as many farmers know, greenhouses will donate after they finish seedlings. So, and that in itself, in the Maine weather, you only have 120, 130 days of grow season. So we struggled the first time. The next year, 2015, we doubled our farmers to 40 farmers. So the main idea of starting this program was to increase our food security, because 90% of our community depends on food stamp. And when you have food stamp, you don't have the luxury of choosing healthy food. So since we were farmers from back home in Africa, we knew how to grow food. We started putting our heads together to create a system where people can produce their own healthy food. So we started doing chemical free. We don't have any chemicals sprayed on our produce. So by 2016, people started growing more than they can consume. So the next step became looking for a market. Started talking to food pantries, started talking to in the community markets, local groceries. So that is when Christina came, and then we started putting together marketing programs. So right now we are running a couple farmers markets. We have a few big wholesale accounts, and we are trying to get to add more. So what this program has done is create economic security and also food security. So we depended on pieces of land that we leased. When you lease a piece of land, you only go there to farm and you don't have a lot of say. Like, you can't improve the soil, you can't add a well, you can't, even if it is good for the soil, you can't do it because the person has a different, like, people will say, oh, why are you putting $10,000 into the soil? You're leaving next year. So most of our leases were, let us see next year. Let us see what happened next year. We never had a long-term lease. So we had one long-term lease that is ending in 2022, thanks to Agrarian Trust and all the partners that we pulled together. We created an agrarian commons, and that made possible that you're gonna have a secure land for the first time in 2020. So as I'm speaking right now, we have our goats in there. We started a couple hoop houses that is being erected already, and then we have a place where we can call home. And this could not have been possible without the great team we have. And I shout out to the farmers, people who really, really want us to farm. People will come out and talk. For the first time, we have a sense of community, because before we started farming program, people were just stuck in their apartments, and you see a 6-story building, we have 6 families in there, and nobody talk to nobody because everybody has their own things in their house, like your restroom is in the house, your TV is in the house, so you don't need to get out. So people were stuck in their homes. When we started the farming program, for the first time, people are meeting outside their houses. People are like breathing fresh air. People are sweating in the farm. People are producing food. So all these pieces were so successful. And it's not only farming program, we have other programs that are going. Another example is Kashiki project. This is a cultural talent room where we bring all the kids in the community to explain how we used to live back home in Africa. So we use pictures of our ancestors, like pictures, and kids will not believe their eyes. They will say, "Is this your father?" No way, you don't look alike, you don't dress alike. You know, this is like 600 years, and it's only 20 years ago. So yeah, we are seeing a lot of issues both in lowest and urban area in US and also in the country where we came from, Somalia, where there's no justice, which is leading towards no food, no enough food in Somalia, because people who are growing food for the country has not been recognized, has not been respected, has not been valued. So, you know, we all know how hard farming is, and with no respect, with no value, people just give up farming. And as a result, in Somalia today, the whole country depends on WFB for food. And the whole country, for those who has the means, depend on the food that's imported from other countries, while they have the land, the water, the resources, the manpower to be self-sufficient. So with that few remarks, I would like to thank you all. Thanks Food Sovereignty Alliance for recognizing our work. And I appreciate you guys all. Thank you.
Wow. Can we all take a minute, like folks come off mute and just like clap and give some love to everyone at Somali Bantu. Wow. Just like, so grateful for everything you're doing. I think, you know, the way that you described the building on the experience that your community has as farmers back in Somalia, and bringing that and creating new realities for new vision here. Yeah, so such a powerful story. I want to come visit your farms. So, so yes, so holding that, and now I'd like to invite Christina Schiavone, who's a colleague here at Grassroots International, and some of you know as someone who's involved in founding the Food Sovereignty Alliance years ago with many of you, to introduce this year's International Food Sovereignty Prize recipient.
Thank you, Sara. Greetings to everybody from Bangkok, and thank you for tuning in from all over the world. And a big congratulations again to SPCA. And now it's truly an honor and pleasure to introduce our next honoree. As a food sovereignty activist and scholar, I'd heard about Nepal being one of only a few countries in the world to have food sovereignty enshrined in its constitution and national law. And for those of us from the US, imagine that, to have food sovereignty and national law. And I had wondered about the story behind these achievements, because behind every progressive policy development, and certainly every revolutionary policy development such as this, we know that there has been a massive amount of struggle and citizen mobilization to achieve it. Today, we honor one of the main forces behind this extraordinary achievement, the All Nepal Peasants Federation, ANPFA. With over 2 million members, ANPFA is truly an example of what effective organizing looks like. Before getting food sovereignty into their country's constitution, they set the stage for this to even be possible through their role in overthrowing Nepal's systems of feudalism and monarchy and pushing forward democratization. And they didn't stop to rest after getting food sovereignty into their constitution, but instead they have worked tirelessly to push forward its implementation through local and national organizing in an effort to actually make food sovereignty a reality in Nepal and beyond. They've also been active in COVID response efforts, and they are deeply engaged in regional and international work through the South Asian Peasant Coalition and the global peasant movement La Via Campesina. So it's now an honor to invite the president and convener of ANPFA, Hari Prasad Parajuli, to take the floor. Thank you and congratulations again.
Oh, Hari, we'd love you to come off of mute and share some words with us. Can't see everyone. Can folks see where Hari is? There you are. Okay. And then you just need to unmute yourself. So if you press the microphone button to unmute. There. Ready.
Yeah, hello everyone. All you are listening?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much to provide us to gathering is this webinar meeting. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Namaste and a warm greetings to all. On behalf of all Nepal Peasant Federation and entire Nepalese peasants, it is our great pleasure to be the part of the historical ceremony of Food Sovereignty Prize 2020. It is also great to meet peasants and the people with the commitment and vision of food sovereignty, working in transforming the agriculture, peasantry, and our societies while producing the food to feed the wolves. As introduced by Comrade Christina, All Nepal Peasant Federation ANFA is the largest and apex organization of entire Nepali peasants, small producers, landless peasants, Dalits, women peasants, peasant, etc. Organized under various farmers groups, cooperatives, class-based associations, and subject-specific producers. Associations is honored to receive this prestigious award of Food Sovereignty Prize 2020, and we are happy to confirm the acceptance of this prize. We would like to express our sincere appreciations and acknowledgement to U.S. Sovereignty Alliance for this award to encouragement and honor towards strengthening the international movement for food sovereignty. Let me also congratulate the Somali Bantu Community Associations for the Food Sovereignty Prize 2020 and the cherished work you have done for all the justice loving people of the woods fighting against the evils of hunger and poverty and for the food sovereignty. This is an important moment. Dear peasant and friends, we live in a crucial juncture in the history of humankind, challenged by capitalistic crisis and the pandemic of COVID-19. But we are not silent. Our fight continues for rights of peasants and to reclaim our food system. We are united to feed the wolves continue our production as well as to fight for the ecology and food sovereignty. Therefore, the pandemic should be another lesson for the new liberal capitalist tool to reform the public policies toward localized food system, agroecology, and the food sovereignty. These crises are a lesson to learn that food sovereignty is the only way for humanity from hunger and poverty, including other forms to oppressions and exploitations. Let us also appreciate all the small producers of the wool who continuously feed the wolves even during pandemic when the industrial food system and the neoliberal markets was completely altered. ANFA has been fighting against casteism, patriarchy, feudalism, imperialism, and the neoliberalism for almost 7 decades since its inception in 1951 AD. ANFA played a remarkable role in the movement of abolishing feudalism and played decisive role in various moments of democratic uprising and restoration of people's sovereignty with women and the youth movement of Nepal. The proactive role played by ANFA food sovereignty has been incorporated as the fundamental rights of people in Constitution of Nepal 2015, and law has been enacted to ensure the rights to food sovereignty and the rights to food. Presently, ANFA is advocating and mass campaigning for the implementation of food sovereignty and the right to food, agrarian reform, land reform, agroecology, climate justice, and social justice. It is the achievement of glorious struggle of ANFA. We have banned GMOs in Nepal and completely multinational corporation in primary production. Food sovereignty is the banner of ANFA. ANFA envision a socialist Nepal ensuring food sovereignty and peasant rights with sustainable self-reliant food system. At present, we are pushing the government to implement the Food Sovereignty Act and the regulation. For this purpose, we are conducting skill enhancements, training, and organizing farmers' movement throughout the country. This price has encouraged us to continue our struggle for the food sovereignty in Nepal. We are living in different corners of the woods, but fighting for the same cause. ANFA strongly believe in implementation of food sovereignty for the healthy food, sustainable agriculture, and peasant rights. We have deep commitment to end poverty, rebuild local food economics, and assert democratic control over the food system. We believe all people have the right to healthy, culturally appropriate food produced in the ecologically sound manner. Long live peasant unity, long live food sovereignty movement, long live international solidarity. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hari. Can everyone again come off of mute and share our love and appreciation?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Long live international solidarity. Long live food sovereignty. Globalize the
Thank you.
struggle.
Thank you.
Globalize the
Lies the
hope.
Globalize
hope.
the hope.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I think you're all feeling the energy as I am, of just so much courage and inspiration. Hari, I so appreciate how you said very clearly what a crucial time we're living in this moment in history for all humanity. And it's people like you and movements like yours that are giving us the brightest hope for transformation, for the future we want to see for all future generations and for Mother Earth. So just the deepest, deepest gratitude and solidarity with you. And what we wanted to breathe this all in and ask for a few concluding words. We've asked both Muhyiddin and Hari if they have any final words to share, possibly a prayer or a poem, as we take your examples and keep going forward in action towards our common vision for food sovereignty. So I'll pass it first to Muhyiddin for any final words, or if you have a poem or a prayer that you wanted to share.
No, I just would like to say thank you so much for attending this ceremony and giving your time, a valuable time in this pandemic. I would also like to thank Food Sovereignty Alliance for recognizing the work that we are doing. So I'm not a poet, but I just for those few remarks.
Yes, and your work is your poetry. The farms are your poetry. Thank you. And Hari, do you have any concluding words you'd like to share?
Sorry. No, a lot. Thank you. But I have other things. If any query and questions are there, our comrade Parmesh will be replied.
Thank you so much. And yes, we won't have time for questions and answers now, but we're in touch as sister organizations in the struggle. And so we'll look forward to continued dialogue and building and learning more from and with you. Yes, as Stephen said, we would like to be in contact in the future. So I want to again thank our incredible honorees for the work you're doing and for sharing it with us so powerfully today. I also want to thank all my comrades in the U.S. Food Sovereignty Alliance who were involved in organizing this, especially the team at Community Alliance for Global Justice for all your behind the scenes work that has made this possible. And a huge thank you to our incredibly talented interpreters, Mohammed, Madhab, and Joel, and everyone else who helped make today possible, including Christina, who prepped me very well for this. And last but not least, thank you to all of you for participating, everybody who's watching this now and in the future. And we appreciate all the work that you're doing on the ground to advance food sovereignty, and want to encourage you to stay connected to the U.S. Food Sovereignty Alliance. Could be through our Facebook page, our website. Reach out to us if you're interested in considering joining. We'd love to share more about how to get involved. We have regional collectives, which are open to member organizations. And also we have issue-specific collectives, which are open to anyone interested. So thank you again. And one more time, I'll say, long live international solidarity, globalize the struggle, globalize the hope.
Globalize the hope.
Globalize the hope.
Globalize the hope.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
And namaste. Bye-bye. Have a good
Namaste.
time. Stay
Thank
safe.
you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye from Africa,
Bye.
Zimbabwe.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for being here.
Bye.
Oh.
We'd like to stay here.
I know, this is the part where people want to stay and don't want to leave, because we all love each other. So we'll have to find more ways to stay connected. Yeah, and we'll be sharing out more information about ways to do that.
Hello, Trina, Bill, Jim. Take care, everyone.
Hi, Andrew.
Thank you all.
Thanks for joining us, Osman. We have your email now.
Thank you.
I've ended the live stream and turned off recording.
Thank you so much, interpreters.
Thank you, Sarah.
So good to see everyone.
Great to see you, Betsy. I was thinking about your pickles the other day. My daughter loves pickles. I never told you that, but oh my goodness, yes.
I should come to Boston and bring you down some.
We'd love to have you.
Right. Love to everyone. So
Bye.
good to see you.
Love to everyone.
Stay healthy.
Thank you, interpreters. Thank you, everyone, for hanging in while we figured out all the technical challenges.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and great job, Sarah, with figuring out all the back end. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on at the start. We had like no issues on Monday, at least like getting once we picked French and German, it was fine. But apparently today it just needed, such is life, right?
Yeah, you worked it out. It was great.
Yeah, that was amazing at 7:59 a.m. And finding Edgar.
Right.
Right there when we needed him. He was so brilliant.
Yeah, that was great. Really good to hear his words. It kind of grounded the whole thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Really inspiring.
All right. Well, I don't know if you guys wanted to do any debrief or if that would be a future time. Maybe in the future?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It feels like it went really well.
Good.
So yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. I so appreciate the committee that put this together.
Yeah, that was great attendance. I'm very pleased.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, CAGJ, for all your technical support and adding things left and right. Yeah.
I even put it on Instagram. What?
Wow, go ahead, Heather. You're getting younger.
Good. Oh my God.
I'm going to say good night to everyone in Nepal and have a good day for everyone else. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Sada and Sarah.